Now, I ain't gonna say the Fighting Nerds is on Fraud Watch, but they got a reality check today. But hey, it's your boy DHP, and y'all know the rest, man. This is my UFC Paris, Nassourdine Imavov, KO Borralho review show. And man, we got a lot of stuff to discuss tonight. As y'all can see in the background, it's dark as hell because it's thunderstorming. But man, the Fighting Nerds, they gotta go back and regroup. And it's funny because in my preview, I said only one of the Fighting Nerds was gonna come up successful tonight. But we're gonna get to that in a minute. But anyway, I'm gonna go down the list of the winners in the fights, and then we're gonna get straight to the analysis. Cause Nassourdine, well, I already knew about Nassourdine, but BSD actually, he proved something to me tonight. Well, I can't even say tonight, but this afternoon, he proved something this afternoon to me. So Nassourdine Imavov took the 5-round decision. As soon as I heard the first judge, when Bruce Buffer announced the scorecard, and it was like 50-45 and then like 49-46, I already knew it was going to go to Nassourdine, because I feel like, KO only won that first round. But we're going to get to it. Nassourdine took the 5-round decision over KO Borralho. BSD took a 2nd-round submission over Mauricio Rufy. Mastas Bukas took a last millisecond knockout on Paul Craig. That was legit at the buzzer. Legit. Then Balaji Aki, he lost in a 2nd-round TKO to Mason Jones. Mason Jones with a huge comeback win. Axel Sola, prospect of the night, took a 3-round TKO over Reese McKee. And William Gomez won a 3-round decision over Robert Rukula. So, Nassourdine and KO Borralho, I ain't gonna lie to you. This was a good technical match. They was the first round was more like a filler round, and that's where I feel like KO Borralho, he won that first round. He just had a little bit more significant strikes than Nassourdine. But once Nassourdine adjusted, he was more on the. Now his coaches wanted him to be way more aggressive, but I felt like Nassourdine, he was the one that was always initiating at least 80% of the time. And then how he was cutting off the octagon on KO Borralho. And you can tell, I mean, I can't really say rust is such a thing, because shout out to my boy Dom Cruz. This nigga Dom always say ring rust is in your head. But you can tell KO, it took KO a little bit to get back in the swing of things, because Nassourdine been the more active fighter than KO. I think Caleb been away for like a whole year. So, but this fight was actually a good technical fight. I know KO, he initiated the grappling. I would have thought that Nassourdine would have initiated grappling a little bit more than what he did, but I was very surprised how much more. And I said it in the preview. Nassourdine is slick standing up, but I was shocked at how a little technical he was than KO. KO, he was trying to find any openings, but Nassourdine wasn't really giving him any openings. And Nassourdine, when he was going off, he was giving him a lot of 1-2s. He had a nice spinning elbow. And he was always the aggressor. Which, what I said, like his cornerman, they wanted him to be much more aggressive, but I feel like he was being aggressive enough, because KO, there was times where KO took center off the octagon, he took center control of the octagon, but Nassourdine, he was the aggressive throughout the whole fight. He was putting KO on the back foot, and KO always have to counter back, besides of giving him his own offensive strikes. But Nassourdine, Nassourdine, it was kind of like, now the BSD fight, we're going to get to that in a minute. But Nassourdine, low-key, like how BSD did to Mauricio Rufy, Nassourdine really froze up KO's aggressive technical style. Because there was times where I could tell KO wanted to pull the trigger, but he kind of held back some, and that's because of Nassourdine, that forward pressure, always putting him on the back foot. So And like I said earlier, when I heard the judges say 50-45, I'm like, yeah, it's going to Nassourdine, because to me, KO, he really only won like the first round to me, and that was just that fill out round. But at 50-45, I'm like, yeah, Nassourdine at least won 4 rounds. So if my math is right, 50-45 is no, that ain't right. That ain't right. I'm tripping. 50-45 is that Nassourdine won all the rounds. But I agree with that 49-46 round. I don't know who gave Nassourdine the 50-45, but I agree with like the 49-46 a little bit more, just because I only felt like KO only won that first round. But Nassourdine, bro, he I'm telling you, he is so tough. The question is, and I've been saying this in my past couple videos, we're gonna have to talk about these fights, these middleweight fights, in the big picture, because guess who's champion? Cam Zach. And honestly, I've been saying this about low key about Topuria too. Like, yeah, these fights, they're each fight in these top 10, the top 10 matchups, and like in some of these weight classes, low key gotta take them fight by fight, because how stacked and how loaded and how tough the competition is. But at the same time, we gotta start thinking like big picture, like how do they stack up against the champion? Especially when you got a dominant champion, and as good of a technical chess match this fight was for me, I was thinking like mid-fight, like how would Cam Zach do against these two? And now Nassourdine, he got the dub, so it's going to be Nassourdine and Cam Zach. Unless, Dana White and them, they say, depending on who win with RDR and Fluffy, say like one of them had a better performance than what Nassourdine showed today, they're going to give it to the winner of Fluffy and RDR. But I think it's going to be Nassourdine and Cam Zach. Nassourdine, he's tough, bro. This nigga Nassourdine, he is tough. Now, how did he stack up against Cam Zach? Now, he did good defending the takedowns from KO, but KO's way of grappling, and he shocked me with the amount of grappling that he did in this fight. But KO is nowhere near the level of grappling Cam Zach is. And although Nassourdine did good stuff in like 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5. How many takedowns did KO do? Like, he did like five takedowns, I believe. I know at one point in the fight, it was Nassourdine stuffed all 4 of his takedowns. But regardless of the number, Nassourdine stuffed all of KO's takedowns. I think he did 5 or 6. Because one of them where KO, he tried to get it, and they ended up both falling. And Nassourdine got right back up. So I want to say it was like 5 or 6. Anyway, Nassourdine stuffed them all. So that is good, but Cam Zach is just a whole different level, though. So that, we gonna have to talk about that at a later time and date. But Nassourdine, he did the damn thing. Bro, he's tough, bro. He's tough. And I heard what Izzy said about Nassourdine on his prediction video. I full-hearted agree, because you may think Nassourdine is like he can be had, and KO did give Nassourdine some good shots too, and actually both of them did. Nassourdine gave KO some good ass shots, some shots that dropped Izzy, but they got some chins on them. KO and Nassourdine got some chins on them. But going back to what Izzy said, Nassourdine, he's much more tougher than what you think. And he just beat Izzy, Now he beating KO Borralho. Now, granted, KO is 7th ranked, so to the casual eye, it was like, well, he just had not a close match, not a close fight, but somewhat of a close fight as far as like the eye test. where he just had a close fight against the 7th rank. That's not really the case at all, because really Caio Borralho, and this is why on a deeper scale of things, I've been saying like the ranking system is flawed, because Caio Borralho realistically should be at least about the 4th or 3rd rank. So he's really, Caio is not, he's not really a 7th rank to me, just because of how he got to this point, to this fight, and who he beating. But you know, it is what it is with that. But yeah, Nassourdine, he got it done, and now we're looking at Khamzat and Nassourdine. So on to the co-main event. Good God Almighty, boy! Oh man, you know what? I gotta clap it up to BSD. And by the way, I didn't say it in the beginning of the video, but the crowd in Paris, this is why I always say UFC is when they be fighting like overseas, it is so much more lit than when it is over here in America. Cause that crowd, I don't know if it was like soccer chants or it was just their own fighting war chants, but you could definitely hear it in that BSD fight. They was going insane. These niggas was going bonkers during that BSD fight. Bro, you got, man, I'm telling you, the international crowd is just so much more loud. Other than like Madison Square Garden, then the TD Garden in Boston, and then when you go to like obviously Vegas, because Vegas is like the capital of like combat sports. Other than like a select few here in America, international crowds, they got American fans beat by a country mile. It is not even close. But BSD, this was the BSD I expected against Renato Moicano. And low-key, Dustin, I mean, that Dustin fight was what it was. But BSD, it took you a while, nigga. It took you a while to actually show niggas what you actually capable of. Like, from the start. And this fight almost just reminded me of like Khabib and Conor. Because how BSD attacked Mauricio Rufy, and then Mauricio had no answers for the takedown. And it's funny, because in the preview show, I said Mauricio Rufy should handle this with ease. And he should at least get like a 2nd round knockout. Right? Lo and behold, BSD ended up getting the 2nd round submission. So I got the round of stoppage. I just didn't get the right person nor the right method. But dog, Mauricio Rufy looked like a fish out of water when it came to the grappling. And I know people's gonna say, you know, and going back to the Khamzat and DDP fight, and shout out to my cousin, because we was talking about this, and even my mans, we was talking about this in my personal group chat. You know, I seriously doubt that these fighters is not working on takedown defense. And then you go into the fight, you face somebody that's a grappler like a Khamzat or a BSD or even an Islam Makhachev, and they get taken down like it's nobody's business. And then people act surprised, like, or people was questioning, like, did they work on takedown defense during camp? I promise you you guys, they are working on grappling. Look at Alex Pereira. Like, Alex Pereira, not the segue, Alex Pereira is working on grappling during his training camp for this rematch against Megami. But it comes to a point where we have to look at these niggas like, you can work on all that grappling, all that takedown defense, all you want, but it comes to a point where somebody just could be stronger than you, and stylistically, that's just a nightmare matchup. Like, we can go down the list on fights who they just dominated, and you wondering like how that happened. I mean, it is what it is. BSD took down Mauricio Rufy. Now, Mauricio Rufy did show some great, bottom game. He was very defensively. He was very defensively intelligent on the ground, because he really didn't like how Mason Jones was beating the shit out of Aki in top mount. Mauricio Rufy, he really didn't get to that point, other than he just, when he gave up his back, and then BSD was slick enough to get through his chin and get through his neck, and then submitting him with the rear naked. But that first round, Mauricio, he showed he just got to work on. Well, now I'm saying it, but he got to do something. Because I do believe, and it's crazy because they pretty much all strikers. Caio Borralho is much more, a little bit more overall rounded, but they pretty much strikers. But I'm pretty sure they worked on takedown defense. But Mauricio Rufy, there's a couple things where he gotta fix, where he can look at this fight, same thing like I said about RDR and Bo Nickel months ago. Mauricio Rufy can look back at this fight and make some minor adjustments to how he defends takedowns. Because, I mean, there's one thing to work on takedown defense, but then there's another where, you still get taken down, which, and sometimes it just, you got to tip your head to the fighter, because look at Sugar Sean. Like, Sugar Sean defended Aljo's, he defended Aljo's grappling much more easier than he did with Merab. Merab is just a better grappler, And shit, look at Aljo. Aljo is he got good defense, and Marcel Avlov, he just a little better, But this was an ass whooping. Like I said, this could be even Conor, because Mauricio, he did had moments in this fight, but between him getting a head kick and pointing back to Nassourdine, what I said about Nassourdine, BSD actually froze. He actually froze Mauricio Rufy, because that was not the Mauricio Rufy. And again, he's kind of like the Conor way, where once he's in that striking zone, it is over. There's nothing you can really do. Mauricio Rufy, striking for striking, he will be any striker. He will be any striker in the world, striking for striking. But when you mix in with the grappling, and then you level change the right way, which BSD finally did, because BSD be doing some choreographic shit from time to time, it completely changes the whole complexity of the fight for somebody like Mauricio Rufy. And you can tell, especially after the midway through the first round, you can tell how that fight was gonna go after midway through the first round. That was not the Mauricio Rufy we've been seeing up until this point. And it's all because of really what BSD did. And then, what happened in the second round, BSD ended up submitting him. So this was the BSD I wanted to see from the Dusty, because BSD, you was heading towards the territory of not being ranked no more, and then we're gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? Because you lost against Poirier, you got knocked out by Poirier, and then Renato Moicano beat the shit out you. In a way where I thought, how you beat Mauricio Rufy, I thought you was going to do that to Renato Moicano, and that flip-flopped the whole different direction. So this BSD right here is actually, could be a dangerous nigga going forward in lightweight. Now, I still have some people beating BSD, just how the styles match up. But if he's fighting like this, and then he can hold up his chin, because BSD is very chinny. I ain't gonna say very chinny, but he's chinny. If you give him I think Topuria, like how Dustin TK'd BSD, I think Topuria would actually crack BSD and just put his lights out completely, like how he did against Charlie Olives. But if his chin can hold up BSD, the way he fighting, the past two fights, in the Bel Air card and tonight, BSD is a top 6 contender. Now, will he end up becoming champ in his weight class? No. There's a couple people, it's like 3 or 4 people where I feel that they will beat BSD, because they can do what BSD do, but better, and they got more power than him. So, but shout out to BSD. Third fight with Manastas Bukas and Paul Craig. Man, man, oh man, oh man. And by the way, Paul Craig, y'all know how I get down. I messed with Paul Craig, but it was time. Paul Craig, it was time for you to retire. I'm glad that you retired. You got to retire on your own terms instead of being like half of these fighters nowadays and just keep fighting, keep trying. Which I admire the never give up attitude, but there comes a point in time where it's just not working. And so shout out to Paul Craig. Everybody know I'm a fan of Paul Craig. I'm disappointed in a way where I see what Paul Craig do, and by the way, Paul Craig is tied for like the second most submission wins in like heavyweight history. So that goes to show you, even proves my point even further of why I've been disappointed with Paul Craig, because he has everything you need. I mean, he can tighten up and correct his striking a little bit more, but he has everything he need to be a solid top 5 contender, and he always come up gunshot. We don't even come close. Like, we'll win a fight here, then we'll lose 2 fights here, then we'll win 2 fights here, and then we'll lose another like 2 fights. So it's like Paul, he's gunshot, but Modestas Bukas, now I said in the preview he was more technical than Paul Craig, which he is, but he was low-key sloppy in this fight. Like, Bukaskas could actually be a legit, especially at light heavyweight, because light heavyweight is all over the place with contenders. Bukaskas could actually be a legit top 5, top 7 contender at light heavyweight. Like, wherever Jan Blachowicz is at, as far as like rankings, because I think Jan was like 4th or 5th or something like that. I don't see why not Bukaskas could get there. His striking is definitely it's actually one of the most unique, other than Yuri and Khalil Roundtree, and obviously Alex Pereira. But Alex Pereira is not really unique. It's more like this generation. It's like more of a higher level, this generation version of Anderson Silva, just without the front kicks to the face. Bukaskas actually is more like a Wonder Boy type striker. Like, it's very unique. I'll say that. But in this fight, he was coming at Paul Craig all reckless abandoned, and then got him to the ground, whatever, started throwing ground and pound, and then at the last second, as soon as the bell rung for the end of the first round, he dropped a thunderous elbow that just put his lights on. Honestly, I don't know if it was Mark Goddard in that fight, but if Paul Craig, because it was right at the buzzer. It was like, it wasn't even right at the buzzer. It was like a millisecond after the buzzer. I felt like if Paul Craig got back up, they would have went back for round 2. But Paul Craig, he went limp. And then Mark Goddard was like, yep, that's a wrap. Because really, if you go back and slow it down, frame by frame, millisecond by millisecond, it was like a 10th of a second off after the bell. So you could kind of say it was at the buzzer, but it was after the buzzer. But it was like, the shit happened so fast, like you can't really, it's one of those things where you can't really say it was after the bell, but it happened so fast. But I'm telling you, because the way I heard it, and it's the little things, especially my mindset in 2025, it's the little things I see and hear. Trust me when I tell you, slow, when the archive go back up for this fight, slow it down, frame by frame, millisecond by millisecond, and just listen to it. That was not even low key. That was after the bell. And I'm pretty sure Paul Craig would have got back up, which he didn't. It would have been around 2, but that was a thunderous elbow. I mean, Jesus. When I said that shit was so thunderous and Paul Craig just went limp and it was like, yeah, it's over. But this man, Bukaskas, I'm telling you, he can be top 5, top 7 at light heavyweight, because light heavyweight is really, light heavyweight is only loaded by names. If you go off paper by names, light heavyweight is stacked and loaded. But these niggas, there's a skill gap. There's a huge skill gap in light heavyweight where I feel like this is the perfect time for a nigga like Bukauskas to come up through the ranks and make some noise and enter that top rankings. But once again, Paul Craig, he retired. I'm still a fan of Paul Craig, so I salute him. But it's just for some, I'm disappointed just in the fact of what Paul Craig had. He could have did way much more. Now, could he been a champ? We'll never know. I didn't think so, but I damn sure thought that he could be up there. Basically, like, who's a good, like, he could have been like a little bit of an Alexander Gustafsson. But I can't really say that because Gus got chances after chances at the title just because he beat everybody else. So, but Paul Craig has some skills on him. Now he didn't know how to utilize them, but it is what it is. But or to Aki and Mason Jones. Mason Jones had the comeback of the year. We already in September. Mason Jones had the comeback of the year. So he got dropped, hurt bad in the first round. And Aki, as soon as Mason got back up, Aki was just throwing him and throwing him and throwing him and throwing him and throwing him. He was trying to get Mason the F out of here, boy. He was trying to get Mason out of here. And Aki, and he was landing them good. And shout out to Mason's chin, because Lord Jesus. Like, Aki landed clean on half of those shots after. And Mason, he survived, and then later in that first round, that very round, Mason ended up dropping Aki, and he stole the round away just because of the ground and pound, and then he almost had the Kimura. So with him knocking Aki back down, then throwing major ground and pound, and then with the Kimura, which was close to being finished, he stole the round away. So Mason already up 1-0. Then that second round came, and good God, boy. Got that man Augie to the ground, top mount, and boom, boom, boom. Hammer fist, elbows. Done. Comeback of the year. I say here. Comeback of the year. That was good. That was good for Mason Jones. Then low key, add him to the list of like, he beat Jeremy Stevens, now Aki. Now, I want to see more before I can say Mason Jones could be like a title threat at lightweight. But he fighting like this, he can. I would not put it past it to see him in the top 15 rankings by midway 2026 next year. Mason Jones, he is good. Like, I want to see more, but he's good. He is good. I'm gonna go to the next fight. Axel Sosa. I said Axel Sosa. Axel Sola. That was a good fight too. I ain't gonna hold you. This fight between the crowd now towards like the main event. The main event, I mean, it was a good fight to me, but it low-key stopped the momentum of the way the fight night card was going. Because low-key, this could have been the best fight of the year. Not the best fight of the year. This low-key could have been the best card of the year. With the atmosphere, and then the finishes. Like, if Nassourdine finished KO or KO finished Nassourdine, this card right here would have had the most finishes in UFC history. So I think this card with Nassourdine winning by decision, this card came up short by one. I think they either tied. I think they either came up short by one or they tied for the most finishes in one card. But His fight right here was crazy. Axel Sola. And there's some things he got to work on too. That he got to work on his head movement more. But he dropped Reese McGee with a nice body shot, a nice jab to the body, a nice jab to the body. He dropped Reese McGee with, and that was all she wrote. Now, was it an early stoppage? Because once he dropped, and he just, and it's one of those things where